43 weeks ago, I embarked on a journey, radiant in-game and radiant in real life.
I've also decided I'm going to become a massive Chad as well. Tomorrow, I'm going to get a gym membership.
Over the weeks, my mind has changed a lot. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worst.
The food that I'm trying to eat to bulk ate up my entire paycheck is gone and I've still got a week.
One thing that hasn't seemed to go anywhere though is this ADHD label, the shiny object syndrome, and the inability to stick to something for a long period of time. I saw a video about Donk and his mouse grip and Twists and his mouse grip, and I was like, yeah, I should do that because that's a really good idea. Don't get me wrong, every time I start a new habit, I wholeheartedly believe that this is the thing that I promise I'm going to stick to for the next 10 years. But in reality, looking back on the last 43 weeks, I've just been chasing my tail, getting lost in the chaos of my own changes, and just not at all efficiently working towards my dreams.
Trying to build things, become things, and I just feel like I can't do that when I'm just constantly resetting.
Last week, it finally clicked. The addiction that I have to self-improvement and how it's holding me back so badly. If in 2 weeks' time, I have not been going to the gym 6 days a week, I have not been training 1 hour of deathmatch, 1 hour of TDM, and 1 hour of aim training, then I just have to accept that my goals are way too ambitious and that I just don't simply have what it takes. I looked back at week 1 of the series and thought about what I wanted to do and what my plan was. I felt like it was still completely relevant and decided to use that to guide my plan moving forwards. Like always, I've got a list of habits that I want to build, things that with consistency will lead me to where I want to get. Failure to complete the task list every day for the first 2 weeks results in the termination of the channel. On the flip side though, if I do stick to these things, we've done them for 2 weeks, they're habits, I'm going to lock in and I'm going to keep building from there. I get more comments than you could ever imagine about my shiny object syndrome and my tendency to overthink, and you guys don't know how badly I want to solve it. So badly, in fact, that I'm actually taking 2 weeks off of competitive Valorant altogether. I'm going to down-regulate my dopamine receptors so much that completing the task list is effortless. In addition to that though, I'm hoping that I get enough mindfulness in to really start to restructure these deeply ingrained ways of thinking. The ways of thinking that have plagued my journey thus far. Now, more than anything, I wholeheartedly trust myself to put in the work. I know I've got the discipline and the work ethic, and I can put my mind to something and I can make it happen. What I don't trust myself to do though is to lead my long-term development, as so far we still haven't fixed our shiny object syndrome and we still clearly don't know what the best direction for ourselves is. From now on, we're bringing on board Opus, someone who's not only going to craft a long-term roadmap for our development as a competitor, but who's also going to hold us accountable and protect me from myself, from my shiny object syndrome. We've got 4 main IRL pillars to focus on: mental, physical, financial, and emotional. Let me just give you guys a bit of an update on where I'm at with all of them, starting with my mental. Simply put, I'm feeling more driven than ever before. I just felt like I was rotting away my potential by not having a clear direction to put my energy towards. Now though, things completely change as we have the guidance of someone who I wholeheartedly trust, and with that I can just feel all the stress in the world lifting off my shoulders, and I just feel like I can give every single bit of energy that I've got to the training that I need to do. For my physical health pillar, I am back in the gym, smashing 1 body part per day and just currently limit testing and seeing what my body can handle. This is something brand new that I'm getting adjusted to, as I haven't done it in a very long time, especially not with a proper split. That makes this a completely fresh journey for me at the moment and something that I'm going to tweak over time, but I'd simply just like the space to do so. You're gonna see some suboptimal gym routines, and I just want you guys to know that I'm just simply exploring, and I just want to build the habit of showing up and putting in as much effort as I can. For the emotional side of things, I've been working on my mindfulness and my gratitude. The difference though is that instead of trying to force it through meditation or some kind of really focused straining activity, I've instead just given myself a new hobby, and that's golf. Only a couple months ago I was playing some golf in the backyard, but nothing too serious, and now I just want to get out there on the actual golf course and give it a really good shot. The idea is just becoming way more present in the moment, getting out in nature and just giving my brain some time to chill out, process all the emotions and thoughts that I'm feeling throughout a day, and it also doubles up as some mental recovery and just a break from grinding all day. Now, lastly, our financial pillar, At the moment, I'm supporting it in 2 ways. The first of which was something I started last week and I'm extremely excited about, and it's actually my mechanical coaching. Mechanics are the one constant that I've stuck to throughout the entirety of the series, and it's definitely my strength by far. I did my first ever mechanical coaching session on Monday and it was an absolute blast, and I was able to see real-time development in their technique and everything, and it was really fulfilling, so I'm going to keep doing that for sure. Take a second before we peak it, and we just want it to be a one smooth motion. We take a couple steps, we stop, and we take the fight.
Yep.
That's perfect. That looks really good. That looks really good. The second way that I'm supporting myself at the moment is through the Ko-Fi community that we've been building up until now. Basically, it's like Patreon, and all the serious supporters getting access to a really sick Discord, access to all the spreadsheets and stuff that I use. And on top of that, I'll be making a weekly Q&A video where the Ko-Fi supporters can ask whatever question they want, and I just chuck on the wireless microphone, go for a walk, and pretty much go nuts.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned about maintaining mental clarity when things aren't going well in game? Well, first things first is
the link to both of those will be in the description. I will say for the coaching, you can split the cost with your duo. Now, normally I start my weeks on Wednesday, but we're staying accountable this week, so I recorded Monday and Tuesday's benchmark sessions just to show you guys what's going on. For now, Monday is our back day, so I did seated rows with a close grip, seated rows with a wide grip, lat pull downs with a close grip, and then lat pull downs with a wide grip. All the numbers that I shout at you in this video probably won't mean anything yet, but they'll all be extremely important because next week we'll do the comparison and we'll see what sort of progression we're seeing. On screen, you'll see the 1 hour of deathmatch and 1 hour of TDM that I did, and once I finish those, I just get straight into 1 hour of aim training on top of that. The focus for this session was dynamic clicking, so I was able to get a starting benchmark score, which, like I said earlier, we're going to compare to future scores that I get, and to make sure that they're as accurately tracking our progress as possible and there's no outliers, what I've done is I've made it so that I do 5 runs and then I get the average of those 5 runs, and that is our average score that we're going to be tracking. 704.2. Don't know if that's good or bad, but that's what we got. The next day, Tuesday, of course, we're just doing it all over again. We can already see improvements in my target reading and my ability to just click moving targets, which I was absolutely loving. Tuesday is our leg day, so I ended up smashing out leg press, leg extensions, and calf raises. That night for our aim training, we were focusing on static flicking and our flicking technique in general. Besides that, I was just taking it easy throughout these days, editing the previous week's video and just adapting to the new routine without comp and with a whole bunch more training. Now, Mondays and Tuesdays, I don't record much because I'm editing the previous week's video, so we're onto Wednesday now where I actually start to record. In order to better cater for social events, I've decided to push my sleep schedule back by 1 hour, and now that I'm waking up a tiny bit later, the sun is out in full force and I'm going to choose that over the sad lamp every other day. This one habit alone of getting sun in the morning is probably the one thing that keeps me grounded. It's time for mindfulness, but it also sets my circadian rhythm, so my sleep is never a problem. Because I've assigned Wednesday to be my rest day, I get straight into meal prepping. I'm sticking to my sweet potato and meat diet, opting for some mash, so while I let that boil, I go and grab some clubs and head out onto the golf course to wreak some havoc. Prior to this week, the only thing I've ever done is just chip balls in the backyard, so I've never properly committed to actually learning how to play. The goal for this session was just to swing the driver and get a feel for it, as well as those long distance shots. Like, I've never gone for proper distance like this before, and I was realizing that I got a lot to work on. I'm not even gonna lie, this was more of an Easter egg hunt than an actual golfing session. I hit the ball into the rough and the trees that much that I was like, my eyesight must be sharper now, I'll be playing better Valorant. Nonetheless, a productive golf session down and our sweet potato is ready. I put the air fryer to good use, whip up some chicken and veggies, and this is another beautiful meta meal. Since competitive Valorant isn't in the picture, it's kind of freed my mind so much to just do all the small things that I need to do in a day. An example of that is optimizing my workflow for editing so that in future things are just a whole lot easier. I got to spend some more time learning about Photoshop and how to make my text pop more and all these sorts of things that I just normally don't have time to do in a week. It was in this time that I also made the mechanical coaching video that I put on my second channel, which if you're interested in watching, I'll link that down below. Many hours of editing had passed and it was enjoyable, but I was ready for a break once again, so I just grabbed the golf clubs and get straight back out. Today I actually learned about driving ranges. It's like the aim trainer for golf. I just get a bucket of balls that I can smack as far as I want and work on my technique. Besides just smashing balls on repeat, one thing that I wanted to do was slow-mo some shots every now and then just to give myself a bit of feedback on how my form's looking. There are so many things that I know I need to do that I'm not yet doing, and This feedback just allows me to be like, okay, maybe I should have a straighter arm, or maybe I'm swinging with my arms too much and I need to move my body more. Whatever it was, I could see it in the slow-mo clearly. Repeating that process for the first half of the balls, and by the time the second half came around, I was actually starting to hit straight. With the few balls that I had left, I took everything I'd learnt about the driver and applied it to the irons, and I was suddenly hitting balls like I'd never hit before. Once arriving home, we're on for our first meeting with Opus. Super important business. Things are going good. I haven't missed a day yet, so you'll be happy to hear that.
Yeah, it would have been a real tragedy.
I should probably space these out better, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I would want to ideally hit the sweet spot for space repetition. The 2 flicks that we have are static and dynamic, and the 2 micros that we have are essentially static dynamic reflex, right? And so we want to separate the flicks and the dynamics away from each other. So I want to ask you, what flick would you rather start the week off with, static or dynamic?
Static. I'll go static.
Okay.
Dinner that night was sweet potato, beef, beans, and some tomato puree, which was amazing. I smash out my 1 hour of DM, 1 hour of TDM, and then once we're on to aim training, I get stuck into the first Kovacs playlist that Opus has made for me, which was all about stability in our flicks. 50 minutes of focused training, 10 minutes of benchmarks, and now we've got some scores to compare to next week after we put in a whole nother week of grind. As my body adapts to a way more dramatic gym schedule, I'm definitely craving more food than normal, so I ended up smashing a glass of milk and some almonds. I don't normally eat before bed just because I don't like it, but I think it's more important to stay on top of our calories here. Waking up on Thursday, it is not a rest day, and we've got work to do. I get outside, get my 30 minutes of sunlight, pack a bag, and get myself straight to the gym. Today is a chest day, not a push day, just a chest day. As I get into the swing of things, I'm just sticking to machines at the moment, just so that I'm not thinking about too many things and I don't have to think about form and whatnot. I started off with our chest press, smashing 9 reps of 35 kilos, but I'm trying to get as close to 6 as possible at the moment, so I upped the weight, and the next 2 sets from there both had 7 reps. Next, we jump on the Smith machine and do our incline bench press. I should mention as well that I stretch and do a warm-up set before every exercise, but yeah, we smashed out 7 reps of 25 kilos, 6 reps of 25 kilos, and then 5 reps of 25 kilos. Now I had 2 more exercises in mind, which I wanted to be the pec deck and then also some decline exercise to target the lower portion of my chest, but the thing is, I kind of felt like I reached my limit on the incline bench, and when I did the pec deck, I just felt straight away that I shouldn't keep going. Not at all a willpower decision, I just actually felt a pain that was just not muscle fatigue or muscle pain. It was I don't know, I need to do more stretches and stuff than I have been. Another thing to keep in mind is how G'd up and motivated I am to train at the moment, so every single set is going to beyond my limits. I'm pushing as hard as humanly possible within reason and within proper technique. Arriving home, I realized I did not defrost any chicken the previous night, so today's going to be a sourdough, tuna and avo kind of day. Yesterday, while working on my drives at the driving range, I ended up getting blisters on both thumbs, and what that triggered me to think was, what do people do about blisters? I then realized that people only ever wear one glove because they never get blisters on their right hand, and then that triggered me to think, maybe I should look into gripping the golf club properly. Today, that's exactly what the focus is, so I got out in the backyard, grabbed a pitching wedge, and just practiced getting down that grip. Once I was back inside, I decided to start allocating some time to watching pro VODs. That way I could download as much information passively, so when I returned to comp, we've got a whole barrage of things to put to use. I got through about an hour's worth before fiending for some more sourdough, avo and tuna, so I ended up smashing that, and then going for a walk down to the pro shop where I ended up buying myself a glove. Inspired by the pro VODs that I watched earlier, I jump into a custom game and I just start doing random things. The reason I'm on Jet and not Clove is just because eventually there will be that transition to the duelist role. I don't want to be a Clove main for the rest of my life, and swapping to duelist is inevitable, but for now it's not something I'm going to rush into. However, I do still want to have a good understanding of the agent when that time does come. I just want to make a point though that this isn't something I'm rushing into like the shiny object syndrome we've seen in the past. This is something that I'm planning to work on with Opus. I still had a little bit of sourdough left, so I brought up some Durka VODs to watch while I ate that, and yeah, more passive learning. Once I was done, I was was ready for some more mindfulness to just help digest all that information. I grab a pitching wedge and a putter, and I decide to go and work on my short game. I'm pretty sure that's the term used for chipping and putting, but regardless, those are the things that I need to develop. With my glove as well as my new grip, I was actually feeling so much more comfortable swinging the club. I was able to flow through the ball so much better, and I was able to hinge my wrists in such a way that it was just so much better. Everything was better. I came home just in time to get started on my 3-hour mechanics training session, and the first thing I do is get stuck into my death match. Once done with them, I felt like I needed a bit of energy, so what I did was make a smoothie out of just berries and water, nice and clean. Get the I don't know what to say. Anyways, on to team deathmatch, and I just want to point out straight away that you can see our stability in our flicks is already like night and day difference from what it once was. Every flick is just a nice calm speed, all of course thanks to yesterday's aim training. On that note though, today's aim training is micro adjustments and raw reflex. The goal today is to keep that same stability in our flicks, that same kind of control and tension management. However, now the targets are appearing for like 250 milliseconds and then disappearing, and another one's appearing for 250 milliseconds and then disappearing, and you just got to react, but react with the proper technique. No panicking is allowed. One wall, one target Valorant hard was the benchmark scenario for this area of aim, and the scores we got, once again, they're decent. I don't know if they're good or bad, but whatever we got, we'll compare it to next week. But once that was done, I'd just wind down, go to sleep, and on to the next day, guys. On to the next day. This day was off to a good start because we got some sunlight again. Last week, I got rid of my second monitor, but I didn't want it hanging around, so I just gave it away for free, and that person ended up coming back and surprising me with some steaks, which I'm very happy to be eating right now. After this ultra meta meal, I get stuck into some pro VOD reviews. This, of course, inspiring me once again to get into a custom game and just go nuts. Also, I've chosen Ascent and Icebox because those two maps are coming back and I haven't played them since they last left. So I think it's important to get ahead of everyone else and do some practice on those maps now while I can. But yeah, enough staring at screens. Let's go and get bigger because we need to get bigger, alright? Today's training is an arm day, just an arm day. The first exercises we are smashing are our bicep curls and our tricep extensions in a superset. For both exercises, I opted for 15 kilos and I was aiming for around 12 repetitions. After 3 supersets of those two exercises, I move on to our preacher curls and overhead tricep extension superset. These two were an absolute killer, but that was 4 exercises done, and hey, the supersets are quick, so I was out pretty fast.
I would argue that the second VOD review, the clip review, would need to be done 3 times a week. I know that it does seem a bit overkill. In my opinion, that honestly feels like the minimum amount for you to be able to actually.
If you told me to do 6, I'd do 6. If you told me to do a VOD review every day, I'd do a VOD review every day.
Okay, that's great. Wow, this is crazy. Is that like the work ethic is just unmatched between you and everyone else.
That feels good. It feels good, but we need to question why the work ethic isn't leading to the results, and that's where we've got to refine things. Because
exactly.
So far, I'm like probably being outgrowthed by someone on 2 hours of sleep and is like playing 16 hours a day of just comp and nothing else, and they don't really care about anything. I've got the work ethic, but I've also just got too scattered of a brain to know what to lock in on. This is where you come in, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna take all that work ethic and I'm gonna direct it here because this is where the 80% is gonna come from.
Exactly. That's the goal. Optimized direction.
In 2 weeks' time, competitive Valorant will be returning, and what we're setting up now is the framework of a system that will be in place when that does come back. From how often I'm going to be VOD reviewing or doing custom drills to developing a bigger picture roadmap for me as a competitor, we want everything to be set up by the time I'm back smashing comps so that it's just a matter of tapping me in the right direction every now and then, and I can just go full steam ahead harder than ever before. So crazy, we need a break now. The family has just whipped out this thing out of the garage, putter 3000 or whatever you want to call it. It's a very simple concept. I putt the ball and then it comes back to me so I can putt it again, and then I just do that for a really long time. Now from here I smash out a steak, do a whole bunch of editing, I eat some bananas, and then I just get G'd up for our mechanics training again. Today's aim training was all just about smoothness, so subsequently that ends up training our tension management as well, which I do really want to get down. The benchmark scenario for this week was adjust track hard, and yeah, we got some new scores. This week has been good. This week has been very good. My mechanics have improved a lot. Watch this clip. This clip here is like the final end of week presentation of my mechanics.
Pew pew! My ult is ready. We'll catch them. Back him like I never left! Night night!
Yeah, so I'm feeling pretty good, and I've actually got 1 hour until I have to do my next mechanics training session, so the pressure's definitely on, because like I got to delete my YouTube channel if I don't get onto that. Yeah, let me show you guys my spreadsheet. This is the new and improved spreadsheet, and the way it works is very simple. It's basically like this was the dream when I first started, was to have a gym split that's in sync with an aim training split. And we've got that now, and I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to hold on to it because this is what I always wanted. This is my dream in life, is to do these two things, nothing else. I smashed out every single mechanics session. Like we are on consistency. I don't know, people were telling me that it was going to be impossible, but I'm not going to lie, it was very possible. Yeah, the spreadsheet gives like a percentage increase, so we're actually up. If I make this, let me get rid of this for a sec, and we make it like 1000. Look at that, down negative 6.2. Put my score in, positive 4.2. So this score is 4.2% better than last week. If we get 5,000, bang. I love spreadsheets. What did you up? That's all for now. Remember guys, there's some beautiful things on the table if you want to support the channel. We've got the Ko-Fi, we've got the mechanical coaching as well. I'm actually G'd up to do that. I love teaching people. And the best of all, the free one is subscribing. So make sure you subscribe, because you'll never watch another video again if you don't. I'll disappear into thin air. The YouTube algorithm will never recommend me to you again. So you gotta make sure you press the sub button if you want to keep in tune with what's going on. I'm locking in at the moment. Like, I'm full steam ahead locking in, and you guys need to go do the same. If you've just watched a 20-minute YouTube video, that's your YouTube time done for the day. Okay, if it's time to sleep, it's time to sleep. If it's time to get up and do something, it's time to get up and do something. All right, I'm going to be disappointed in you severely if you click on another video right now. Go do something. I love you. That's where this comes from. Take care. I'll see you next week. Peace out, everyone.